Honourable members, prayers. Almighty God, we beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic, thou members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and their good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving, country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people, that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the coming day, the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honourable members, we have communication from the President. Mr. Speaker, absent from Ghana. In accordance with Article 59 of the Constitution, I write to inform you that I'll be traveling outside the country on 2nd February 2018 to Dakar, Senegal, at the invitation of Their Excellencies M. Macky Sall, President of the Republic of Senegal, and Emmanuel Macron, President of the Republic of France, to lead the Ghanaian delegation to the 3rd International Conference on the Replenishment of the Funds of the Global Partnership for Education. I will return to Ghana the same day. During my absence, the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, shall, in accordance with Article 68 of the Constitution, act in my stead. Yours sincerely, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic. We shall now correct the votes and proceedings of Thursday, the 1st of February 2018. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Yes, another member for Futu.
Mr. Speaker, my name appears on the absent list, number 1. I was unavoidably absent. Mr. Speaker. The spelling is Kwamena. Mr. Speaker, it's been 5 years of correcting this. It's been 5 years. Every day I correct. On this occasion, I plead with Mr. Speaker to make the appropriate direction to the appropriate department, that there wouldn't be the need for me to correct this. Mine is E, not I. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. The table office should take note and curtail these corrections at the close of the today. Page 9. Page 10. Page 11. Page 12. Page 13. Page 14. Honourable members, subject to the correction, the proceedings of Thursday, 1st February 2018 is hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. We have the official report for Friday, January 5th. Any corrections? In the absence of any corrections, the official report of Friday, 5th January 2018 is hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. We also have the official report of Thursday, 7 December 2017. Any corrections? In the absence of any corrections, the proceedings of Thursday, 17 December 2017 is hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. Item number 3, business statement of the third week. Chairman of the Business Committee.
Mr. Speaker, the Chairman of the Business Committee, the Majority Leader, is not with us this morning. He has had to travel to Kumasi to attend to an urgent matter. He has asked me to present the statement on behalf of the committee. Mr. Speaker, the Business Committee met Thursday, 1st February 2018, and arranged business of the House for the third week ending Friday, 9th February 2018. Mr. Speaker, the committee accordingly submits its report as follows. Arrangement of business. Mr. Speaker, you may read communications to the House whenever they are available. Mr. Speaker, the Business Committee has programmed the following ministers to respond to questions asked of them during the week. Minister for Transport, 1 question. Minister for Health, 1 question. Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, 1 question. Minister for Education, 2 questions. And Minister for Roads and Highways, 3 questions. Right Honorable Speaker, 5 ministers are expected to attend upon the House to respond to the 8 questions that I have spoken to the House about. Statements. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Order 72, Ministers of State may be permitted to make statements of government policy. Statements duly admitted by the Right Honourable Speaker may be made in the House by honourable members. Bills, papers, and reports. Right Honourable Speaker, bills may be presented to the House for first reading, and those of urgent nature may be taken through the various stages in one day, in accordance with Order 119. Papers and committee reports may also be presented to the House. Mr. Speaker, motions may be debated and their consequential resolutions, if any, taken during the week. Right Honourable Speaker, His Excellency, the President of the Republic, is expected to deliver a message on the state of the nation on Thursday, 8 February 2018, in accordance with Article 67 of the Constitution. Honourable members are entreated to be punctual for the event. Honourable members are therefore urged to be in the chamber latest by 9:15 a.m., as it may not be courteous for members to enter or exit the chamber after His Excellency the President has entered the House to deliver his address. Mr. Speaker, the Business Committee takes this opportunity to advise honourable members not to enter the chamber with their guests. In view of the scheduled address by His Excellency the President, the House is expected to adjourn early on Wednesday, 7 February 2018, to enable the Planning Committee of the State of the Nation's address get the chamber ready for the event before Thursday, 8 February 2018. Mr. Speaker, the business arranged for the week from Tuesday the 6th of February 2018 through to Friday the 9th of February 2018 are found on pages 1 to 3 of the attachment to the statement that I have read. In conclusion, Right Honourable Speaker, in accordance with Standing Order 162 and subject to Standing Order 53, the committee submits to this Honourable House the order in which the business of the House shall be taken during the week under consideration. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member for Bongo.
Very grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to find out from the Deputy Majority Chief Whip when the report on the fire that nearly gutted Parliament House. Chief Whip, I'm sorry. When we would have that report, and if there's an indication of when members of Parliament could be taken through some exercises in the event of any accident in the House. And Mr. Speaker, finally, now that His Excellency the President is back in the country, I'm wondering if the position of Speaker if the position of Acting President come with any emolument.
Yes, the Honourable Member for Northern.
Grateful, Mr. Speaker. May I commend the Majority Chief Whip for presenting the business statement for the week ending 9 February 2018. Mr. Speaker, on the second page, second paragraph, the Majority Chief Whip said that, Mr. Speaker, the Business Committee take this opportunity to advise honorable members not to enter the chamber with their guests. I'm wondering why this is here, because on no occasion do we come into the chamber with guests. So I thought that this really is quite needless, with all due respect, so that the impression is not created as though there are some days that honorable members come into the chamber with guests. But on the day of the State of the Nation address, we should not come with our guests. I mean, we never come here with guests. So I don't know if they are referring to Parliament as or the public gallery. But the chamber, I'm really wondering why this is here, because I'm not aware that any MP comes into the chamber with guests. But, Mr. Speaker, the other issue I want to raise has to do with a decision that this House took yesterday under your leadership, Mr. Speaker, when the Honorable Muntaka, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Asawasi, raised the issue to do with the ally on the law school admissions. The Honorable Majority Leader informed the House that he will confer with the Attorney General so that the Attorney General will appear before the House and possibly withdraw the ally. Because Article 11(7)(b), it emerged yesterday that it's in breach because the ally has not been gazetted. The chairman of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee confirmed that. So we were expecting that the business statement for next week, we will see the Attorney General featuring to come address that matter. So I want to draw the attention of the Honorable Majority Chief Whip, if he can give some indication if that matter is receiving attention at the Business Committee. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to draw attention to the Presidential Office Act 1993, Act 463, Section 11. It reads, and I quote, "The President shall, within 3 months after the end of each financial year, submit to Parliament an annual report containing the following information. A, the number of presidential staff employed at the office. B, the rank or grade of such staff. And C, employees in other public services assigned to the office," unquote. We admit that we are within time, but next month, we've entered February, next month, March, this will be out of time. So I just want to draw the attention of the Majority Chief Whip. We have been asking for some time now. We just have barely a month to go, and we still do not have this report pursuant to the Presidential Office Act. So I wish to draw attention once again so that we can receive this annual report. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, Honourable Member for the Clue.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I thank the Majority Chief Whip for presenting the business statement. Mr. Speaker, my comments are specifically about the time of the President's address. Mr. Speaker, as you can look around the House, I think we still have a problem with attendance. Day in, day out. I turn up at work at 10 o'clock, as you direct the previous day. Hardly do we start work on time. Mr. Speaker, it's not giving me any incentive to come to work as you direct. I'm not sure what we're going to do to make this improve. Today is Friday. We are still expected to be at work. Some may be outside for various reasons. But somebody may even say, do we even have quorum to do business today? And we don't. Mr. Speaker, if we are going to be here, according to this report, at 9:15, Mr. Speaker, I will encourage leadership. When the time is up for us to start work, when the president is here, let's lock the gates. Let nobody enter this house until it is finished, until we begin to implement these things rigidly. It is just a talk shop. People think we come and talk and go. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to encourage leadership. If we want to come here on time, and it's on paper, let's adhere to it. When the president enters on time, but if he's late, I'm not sure how you can stop anybody else from being late. But if the president comes here on time, anybody who comes after that should be locked out. I think it will be appropriate. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah. Yes, Honourable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity. I believe the whip is acting justifiably in the state of the chairman of the committee, who is leader of the House, who is attending to an important family matter. Mr. Speaker, we owe it to come to your defense that the late start of proceedings is not the doing of the Speaker. I'm aware that Professor Okwe and your good self have always responded to time. Even today, I wish I get a gentleman's name. Before Mr. Speaker stepped in, he had to walk in 3 times to count at his own level. I just hope that I picture a gentleman around. Members must endeavor to be punctual. Members must endeavor to be in the chamber. Some are waiting in their offices to see Mr. Speaker enter before they come. That itself is not respectful and it's a breach of protocol. So I can get my colleagues' concern is British trained, punctuality and respect for time, very important. I share that with him. But I think that in many instances, it's not been the Speaker. And sometimes leadership, we must take responsibility. When we come, normally there is pre-sitting chaired by the Speaker where we discuss matters of mutual interest, including the business, so that we build some understanding and consensus how to proceed on them. Sometimes a disagreement at that level also takes a toll on the time even before the Speaker comes in. So, Honourable Kwame, I appreciate that members must be responsive, but in this instance, on many occasions, it is not the Speaker. Professor Okwe have warned quite a number of times that, look, leaders, I don't want, I'm quoting or paraphrasing, I don't want to be embarrassed. We said 10 a.m. Indeed, he had even said that, look, when we all agreed to 12, it seemed working for all of us. If you bring it to 10 and you cannot respect 10, maybe we should look at the 12. And Mr. Speaker, the committee that you chair on the standing orders must take a critical look at the time, whether or not, given how we get here early, we all will not build. Mr. Speaker, permit me now to comment on the business statement. More importantly, the President will be here pursuant to his constitutional duty and obligation to address us on the state of the nation. We look forward to that, and we accord him the respect as the first gentleman of the House. So members should endeavor to be on time and to be decorous, even though we are still working to build consensus on behavior within the chamber when we have the President here as our guest. Mr. Speaker, to the table office, I know at Business Committee, we said that just one question for Tuesday was not enough. If we are not having more to do until the State of the Nation address, we are raising a lot of questions that are standing in the name of ministers. They must be encouraged to come to answer to those questions. Mr. Speaker, I'm compelled to support the Honorable Ablakwa. Repeatedly, I have stood here demanding from the President and Office of the President full details and list of all employees at the Office of the President and the Office of National Security and extension of the ministry. Pursuant to the Presidential Act, we are asking for what is lawful. Where is the transparency that you promised? Go and bring the list to us. If you bloated it and you cannot share the numbers with the public, let's know. So, Minister for Monetary Evaluation, monitor those numbers and bring it to Parliament. Monitor how many people are at the Flagstaff House and National Security and report
yes. Honorable Minister for Monetary Evaluation.
Mr. Speaker, my good friend is minority leader of this House, and he knows the rules. When it is due, it will be brought here. It's not due yet. It's not due yet. We are within, so take your time. I'm monitoring. I'm monitoring. But not only I'm monitoring that, I'm also monitoring the press conferences.
Mr. Speaker, it is due. You see, you assume rings of government January 7th. So even for March of 2017, you are supposed to give a report which captures the 2016 era. You haven't done that. 1 year has since lapsed. Bring us full details. You promised the people of Ghana open, transparent government. We need full details of every person, including party apparatus that you are loading here and there at those offices. Now, Speaker, finally, on a matter which is of interest to you, Legal Profession, Professional and Post-Call Course Regulations 2017. Mr. Speaker, by virtue of Article 11, this House, and there is a subsequent Supreme Court ruling on this matter, and we must be guided by it in terms of the laying of this instrument pursuant to the Parent Act. Attention have been drawn to the fact that we are in breach, and if we are in breach, it will not stand as law. Young people who aspire to read law and want to be lawyers are very much interested in what Parliament does to this particular bill, this subsidiary legislation. So therefore, Mr. Speaker, the Attorney General must take action appropriate, urgent and timely, so that aspiring law students, young people who are desirous of law will know their fate, and we know what lawmakers of Ghana is defining for them as their future. Anything short of it will render the particular instrument redundant in terms of its legal standards. So what arguments was advanced, Mr. Speaker? I think your directive on this matter would be very important. So colleagues, we look forward to the State of the Nation address, and as we've said, the leader is not here. All of us must endeavor to accord the President the honor and dignity as first gentleman as he reports on his tenure and what he is doing to improve the quality of life of the Ghanaian. So, Mr. Speaker, generally, these are the matters. I do agree with the whip. We can adopt the business statement and then go into business. I thank you.
Yes, Honorable Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Concerning the issue Honorable Ras Mubarak raised about the fire outbreak, it will engage the attention of the Business Committee in the ensuing week. And so when we are reporting next week, Friday, we'll give you indications. The Honorable Kujetu raised an issue about an expression in the business statement on page 2, which says that members should not enter the chamber with their guests. It's happened before. So we are just emphasizing or drawing attention of members to that fact. The fact that somebody is a member of Parliament does not entitle him or her to enter the chamber when we have begun business. Sometimes people think that they are working with a certain member of Parliament and then they enter together. Those things don't help. So we are just cautioning ourselves that we don't need to do that. And then the instrument that the minority leader also spoke about, I think the majority leader undertook to talk to the Minister for Justice and Attorney General, and what is needful will be done. The needful will be done. The issue about the Presidential Office Act, Act 463, the law gives the President 3 months within which to act. We've done less than even half of the period that is given. We've done 1 month. We are just about the second day into the second month. So my colleagues should be patient. The President will comply with the law, the provisions of the law. I agree that time is of the essence. And so, as the minority leader reiterated the issue raised by Honorable Gavins Kwame Abuja, I think all of us must be guided that we need to be conscious of our time, because sometimes we waste a lot of time and it doesn't help all of us. On that note, I think I have been able to respond to the questions and issues raised by members. Thank you.
Yes, the honourable member for Futu.
Mr. Speaker, I was also expecting that in reading the business statement, the Chief Whip would address the very important issue of insecurity raised by the minority. Mr. Speaker, a few days ago, the minority raised issues regarding recruitment. Mr. Speaker, the minority expressed concern regarding those who are being recruited, to the extent that specific allegations were made in respect of the background of these recruits, to the effect that some may be members of the Invisible Forces and Delta Force. And a member of this House, my very respected colleague, Honorable Skujeto Ablakwa, has gone a step further by specifically saying that a member of this House from Ododo constituency, Honorable Nilande van der Poel, had alleged or had raised a concern that about 3 or 4 of these persons to be recruited are known members of a supposed group called Invisible Forces. My worry is that to the extent that a member has raised this matter, it has to be dealt with by making a full disclosure. If the names can be furnished for the House or for Parliamentary Service Board, which has mandated the clerk to do this recruitment, to act on it, the better it would be for us as a House. But to throw this out in the public domain without giving specific details, Mr. Speaker, it's a serious matter. Because we are dealing with issues of security. And as we speak, the impression out there is that some members of the Invisible Forces or Delta Force are being recruited or have been recruited and are undergoing training. It's a very serious matter, Mr. Speaker. I would beg that the Chief Whip takes the matter on board. The member who has raised a concern provide us with specific details. In the absence of same, please. The principle is, he who alleges must prove. It's not for you to shift the burden that you have alleged, because, Mr. Speaker, my very respected Honorable Okujeta Ablakwa was very specific and categorical that he is not privy to the information. Honorable Nilante van der Poel raised the matter. We are all concerned about security. It is either disclosed or withdrawn. It's important. Mr. Speaker, I rest my case.
Honorable member for New Otafo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to refer to an issue that the minority leader alluded to with respect to delaying of papers in Parliament and so forth and so on. Mr. Speaker, I think there's a lack of effective coordination between this House, the AGs, and Assembly Press. I say so because on Saturday, you recall I laid an airline. That same day, it was supposed to be gazetted. But I'm told now that because they don't work on a Saturday, it was not gazetted. Mr. Speaker, if they tell me that they're going to gazette it on the 30th, and therefore, the basis of that, I followed the Constitution. Now, to tell me that they don't work on Saturdays, it means I will have to withdraw it and relay it. And I'm missing the number of days that is required. It is delaying the implementation of the NIA. So we need to have a proper coordination so that these things don't happen. Thank you.
On this one, I think that there has been a discussion between the leadership and Mr. Speaker, and I think that has been brought to the attention of Mr. President, that indeed the organization called Assembly Press is actually a property of Parliament. It was called Assembly Press because at that time Ghana's Parliament was called the National Assembly. And therefore, they should be working as a department of Parliament. It is because it's now operating under another ministry and as an independent agency of a ministry that we are having that disconnect. So I think that leadership should pursue. I recall that the President was very keen when it was brought to his attention. We should pursue it so that the Assembly Press should be seen to be, because by law they have to do the gazetting. And they work on days different from what Parliament work, the days that Parliament work. This disconnect will continue to be there. So the point is well noted. I think the leadership will take the matter up and pursue it to the conclusion. Very well. Now, Honorable Chief Whip. Oh, hold on. There's another person. Honorable Member for Mensah North, my MP.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my concern has to do with the fact that our colleagues on the other side would want to politicize everything, including matters that border on security. Mr. Speaker, security is very key to our survival as citizens, and therefore it should be of paramount to all of us. But for a whole member of Parliament, Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa, to have come out alleging that we have recruited a group which is largely perceived to be affiliated. No,
We as Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, we as Parliament. Mr. Speaker,
Order.
This is a very dangerous statement.
What statement?
That we as Parliament.
Hold on. I'm sorry, I was consulting with the clerk, so what statement are you saying is dangerous?
No, Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying is, it's a serious matter for our colleagues on the other side to have raised a concern that we as Parliament have gone out to recruit a vigilante group to man security here. And I think we must address it once and for all, especially when they are on radio making lifeless propaganda as if Parliament cannot beef up security internally. So they should provide names. And we are daring them to pinpoint any member.
Honourable member, let your address be parliamentarian. Your language.
Yes, we want them to
parliamentary.
This parliamentary language.
You address members as members of the other side, our colleagues, them and they and so on, as on parliamentary. Please use the appropriate parliamentary language.
Respectfully, we are taking cue from what you just said. But the point is, we want them to provide names based on the allegations they've raised.
We want our colleagues from the other side to provide names.
Honorable, if you are going to respond to him, I will not give you the opportunity, because I think the issues are being raised for the acting chairman of the business committee to respond, and he will respond appropriately. But if you have another issue, then I'll recognize you.
Mr. Speaker,
it was not intended to be you. It's intended for the leader to act. So, yes.
Mr. Speaker, I thought you had taken a decision on this matter, in which you had said that we should avoid discussing these matters in public, and some guidance had been given regarding how we should handle matters like this. So I think we should stick to the admonishment that you gave the other day.
I'll let the minister, the appointments committee respond to the issues. Then I'll speak to a few matters that have been raised here myself. Yes, Honourable Member for Bodi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to suggest to the Business Committee to consider to invite the Minister for Local Government and Education to come and explain to us why, maybe somewhere next week, why our project funds for 2017 has still not been released, even though some of us applied several months ago. And we are in 2018, and they haven't paid our release. I haven't received mine, even though I applied several months ago. And so it is affecting the way we operate in the constituency. Can it be possible? Yes, I can file a question, but another alternative, another option is for the Business Committee to program it so that it will come and then explain to us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister for
My
Monetary
good friend
Relations.
is a senior member of this House, and he knows how these things are done. There's no relevance to the business statement of that. But more importantly, the Minister of Local Government is not in charge of funds for project development. Since when did the minister become in charge? As a senior member of this House, you should know from where those monies come from, not from local government. And you should be teaching the younger ones so they know. But if you make such a mistake, and if you don't know, you can see me in chambers. I'll tell you.
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, Honourable, can you resume your seat? Can you resume your seat for the time being? Honourable members, can we finish dealing with the Business Committee's work? If there are outstanding matters that people want to bring, I'll give you opportunity. But we should not use the Business Committee to introduce every other matter we want. Honourable Zamsa,
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think my honourable colleague who just spoke is also a senior member, and he should learn to respect and know how to talk to senior members in this parliament. Not to just stand up and then insult anybody. What I said was that, and it is done, it is possible, the Business Committee can program to invite the local government to come as minister to explain why third quarter of 2017 Common Fund has not been released, as well as the fourth quarter, and the Education Minister to come and explain to us why our share of the GET Fund has not been released for 2017. I'm just urging that the Business Committee just to program so that next week he comes. This is not out of place. So-called senior member.
Honourable member, please. I said let's restrict ourselves. If I allow, this would degenerate into, but let's be clear. A common fund administrator is independent of the minister. And we have a committee that in such matters deal with them. So let us not introduce these matters to the Business Committee's report. So, Honourable Acting Chairman of the Business Committee, the outstanding questions that people have asked, if you wish to respond to them now.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I think the issue that Honourable Samson was raising could have been taken on board when the House had a joint caucus some 2-3 days ago. Yes. So I think some of these matters can be dealt with when we have a committee of the whole or when we are having a joint caucus. And one was held not too long ago. You should have taken advantage of that. He has also the opportunity to ask a question. So now we are presenting a business statement for next week. The committee met yesterday. So what he's asking for cannot be factored into the presentation that has been done for future. So we can talk to the chairman of the business committee, not necessarily here. Mr. Speaker, I think so far we have exhausted discussions on the business statement, and We look up to you. It may be adopted.
Honorable Member Fufutu, we are done. The issue you raised, I was going to respond to it. First, that matter had been discussed here at plenary. The appropriate information has been given. Those who raised it have realized that they took the wrong step. We have been advised not to discuss matters like this in the, on air. I think everybody is abiding by it. And so we should let that matter lie. Who was on air today?
I was watching Metro TV, and I saw Honorable Afenyo Makin and Honorable Sam Okujeto Abloka discussing this matter. And in fact, to quote him, he said he doesn't know the names, but the member from Odododio is the one who knows the names. Today. Sit down. Table what? Sit down. You are the one who started this. Mr. Speaker, if I'm wrong, let him deny it. If I'm wrong, let him deny it.
Yes, Honorable Member for London.
Most grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister for Monitoring and Evaluation is right. I didn't know that he monitors television programs as well. I thought that he would be too busy monitoring matters of state, that he would not be monitoring Metro TV, Good Morning Ghana. But he's very right. And Mr. Speaker, the matter arose when my colleague, Honorable Afenyo Makin, sought to say that our speaker, the second deputy speaker, had disowned the minority, and that we were up to a lot of mischief. And he asked the moderator of the program to give him the permission to ask me directly to name the names of the people who we say belong to the invisible forces. That's how the recording is available, all those who watched it. No, and I'm happy that Honorable Dr. Kutosa is there. So we both discussed it. Indeed, I was invited to treat. I was invited to treat, and I couldn't resist the temptation. So we both treated the matter. So, Mr. Speaker, I am willing to abide by and subject myself, to your further direction, especially if Honorable Afenyo Makin will stop leading me into temptation. He led me into temptation.
Honorable Makin, I'm not going to recognize you again. Kindly resume your seat. The important thing is that the matter was discussed on air again by 2 members of Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, with respect. Mr. Speaker, with respect. Mr. Speaker, with respect.
Yes.
I only caution him. Mr. Speaker, I knew he was walking on a slippery ice. I knew that he was walking on a slippery ice, so I cautioned him. But Mr. Speaker, in fact, he took a cue and navigated gently out of that trouble. So, Mr. Speaker, if he's considered he erred, I join other colleagues in pleading for mercy on his behalf, hoping that, Mr. Speaker, if I had also indirectly slipped, I would be forgiven. Mr. Speaker, an important matter that got me on my feet, Mr. Speaker, is the point raised by the Honorable Majority Chief Whip regarding business statement. Mr. Speaker, in this House, the tradition has been that when business statement is read, members get the opportunity to raise issues. And I recall in the last Parliament, there was an occasion where there were compelling reasons to amend the business statement for the ensuing week. Therefore, I beg to reluctantly, he is my very senior at the bar, I respect him a lot. He also doubles as my leader at ECOWAS Parliament. I beg to reluctantly disagree with the aspect of the submission that business statement has been discussed and is over. I hold the view that in accord with practice, we can raise relevant matters for same to be factored in, and it will not be out of place. I so beg to put across. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Speaker, thank you very much. I think the Honorable Afeyo Markin used an expression which is of paramount importance: relevant related matters. It's not any matter at all. Thank you.
Honourable members, I think it is important that on matters relating to the House, we seek information and be sure of what we talk out of the president. If it is here, if you are wrong, you'll be corrected. But when it's outside, what you do is you throw the matter out, and people who are not informed, who don't even understand how we work here, feed on it, and often disparage Parliament, the institution and members for nothing. So we encourage members, when they have issues, to raise it here, to discuss here, and avoid discussing matters on air which relate to the workings here. I think the other time, Honourable Secretary explained the parliamentary service does all recruitment of people serving here. If anybody has any specific issue relating to any particular person, that for this person, I know him or her to be A, B, C, or D. If you tell the chief executive, which is the clerk, he will take the appropriate steps. Let's not throw that also into discussion, because as soon as we categorize them as this or that, they are losing their neutrality to work for us here. Everybody votes, but they are supposed to serve us irrespective of whichever way they vote. So we should not introduce our own partisanship into the work of the parliamentary service, because it makes it uncomfortable for them. If I insist that this man, I heard that he was working or he belonged to that party, so I will let him be on my committee. What happens? And then you have to rearrange, and another person says, I don't like this person. So I encourage members to have, when they have issues here, deal with leaders, deal with committees of the whole or joint caucus meetings so we can discuss and resolve them here. Honorable Member Fadaklu made a statement relating to punctuality. I think everybody who have been keen would observe that Mr. Speaker is very keen on starting at 10. There are times he has come to sitting when the leaders are not here, because the practice is to wait for the leaders, but sometimes he decides not to wait for them. 10 is time, I'm going. You know, so if we have any verdict, it should be a verdict on Mr. Speaker's promptness should be excellent. Anytime we are late is because he's waiting for something, because leaders are working on something, or we ourselves are not ready. I think we should be taking cue and not making Mr. Speaker to come wait for us. All the time by 10 a.m. he's ready. I thank you. Honourable members, that is the end of the business statement. Honourable Sambahi, is it on business statement?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Let me hear you.
Mr. Speaker, I think that Honourable Afeyo raised an important point, which you have to consider, because the business statement as presented by the acting chairman is not final. It is for the consideration of this House, and therefore members can propose amendments, we can add or we can subtract. And so that is why it is presented to the plenary for our consideration. So when we go and meet and agree on the various agenda, it doesn't mean that you should come and impose them on us. So if I have a conviction that something is wrong with regards to release of common fund, and I want an urgent attention to be paid to it, I can raise it. It should be considered to be incorporated in the business statement. Yeah. So I think you should give directives on this and let the business committee members to know that whatever they present to us is not the final. Yeah. It can be amended. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your audience.
Thank you, Honorable Ahi. I think the chairman conceded that if there's anything relevant that was left out, they are open to including any such thing. Thank you very much. First, honorable members, the business statement of the week. You want something on the business statement? Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I think you haven't said anything about the issue regarding the LIs. The LIs, the legislative instruments. I think the minister himself has admitted the necessity to withdraw the one that he laid. And we also gave indications yesterday regarding the anomalies relating to the ones that the Attorney General and Minister for Justice laid. So if you could give the appropriate directive so that in the course of proceedings today, we could amend the order paper to make provision for the minister to withdraw the LI and then also withdraw the one for the Attorney General and Minister for Justice. So, Speaker, I think that will help matters.
Honourable members, I don't think it lies in my mouth to order that the minister should withdraw an LI. If they find that it has not been gazetted, they know the appropriate thing, or the committee then would advise us that this is not gazetted and therefore it cannot. So, as for now, we have information, but either the minister will come and withdraw himself, or the committee to which those things have been referred will advise the House. So I don't think I should make any pronouncement at this time. Honourable members, the business statement for the week ensuing is hereby adopted. Question time. Honourable Minister for Roads and Highways. First question, question number 265, is in the name of the Honourable Member for Northton, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa.
Very, very grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Honourable Minister for Roads and Highways when work will commence on the Volivo to Dofo Adidome Bridge.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I begin with the background to the question. The government secured yen loan for the development of a 54-meter cable-stayed bridge over the Volta River from Volivo to Dafo Adidome in 2017. The bridge is a critical part of the Eastern Corridor development, which is envisaged to become the main south-north corridor because it is the shorter route to the northern sector compared to the central corridor. The bridge will serve as an alternative crossing point on the Volta River in the event of any unforeseen circumstance, resulting in the closure of the Adomi Bridge, as happened recently when the Adomi Bridge was closed for rehabilitation. It is in this vein that the alternative crossing at Volivo and the bypass road is vital. Mr. Speaker, the loan was effective in July 2017 with the payment of the front-end fees. The detailed designs for the bridges and implementation plans have been duly completed. However, the works cannot start because of the decision of JICA to delay the construction works on the bridge, pending the confirmation of the allocation of funds for the road component. Discussions held with the JICA indicates that they would stand by the agreement we signed with them to develop the Esutrari Junction-Esikuma Road concurrently with the bridge. Therefore, they expect a firm commitment from GOG to undertake the road works before the bridge works would commence. Although the African Development Bank had expressed interest in supporting the government to develop the road, the funds available to the country at the moment are insufficient for the works. The sector has presented various funding scenarios to the Ministry of Finance to consider in financing the road works. Mr. Speaker, the current program is that the procurement of consultants is ongoing, but has suffered some delays due to the ongoing discussions on the commitment for the road works. Originally, the construction was expected to commence in October 2018, but the process has suffered about 3 months delay. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, honourable member.
Very grateful. Mr. Speaker, respectfully, I want to draw the attention of the Honourable Minister that it's Dofo Adidome, not Darfur, Dofo Adidome, so that we do not lose the facility. Because I know that there are other places called Darfur, but this is Dofo. And Mr. Speaker, the last paragraph, I believe that the Honourable Minister intended to say 2017 instead of 2018, that the construction was expected to commence in October 2017, but the process has suffered about 3 months delay. Or is it that I am reading it wrongly? It's not clear to me. But just raising those so that the minister could avert his mind. But Mr. Speaker, my first question is that is there a new start date since the original schedule has been derailed because of the decision to get GOG to show the commitment for the road works? Do we have a new start date that you are working with?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first I want to thank my honourable colleague for the collection of DAFO, and I've taken note of that. Secondly, let me re-emphasize that the commencement date, as stated, is correct according to the schedule of work in my ministry for this project, even though we are trying to bring it forward. I can tell you that, and to assure you and to assure this honorable House, that my ministry, and for that matter, the government, is expediting work on this bridge, because if you glean from the answer I gave, the importance of having that bridge in place cannot be overemphasized, because it serves and is going to serve as an alternative bridge to the Adomi Bridge. And I made reference to it, that in last year, our recent past, you know what the people, particularly in Volta region, went through, the difficulties when Adomi Bridge came under rehabilitation. So even though it's scheduled to start in October this year, we are working hard to secure the funding for the arterial roads. And is so critical to JICA because where the bridge is situated, without the arterial roads, if they release the money for its construction, it will not be operational. We need the arterial roads. So it's a condition precedent. And I can assure you, Honorable Member, and this Honorable House, that the government is working very hard at it to find the funding to initiate the construction of all the arterial roads so that JAC's funds will be released. So I believe that even though it's scheduled for October this year, we are trying to work hard to bring it forward. I thank you very much.
Honourable Member.
Very grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the third paragraph of the Honourable Minister's answer says that the sector has presented various funding scenarios to the Ministry of Finance to consider in financing the road works. The Honourable Minister does not indicate what the outcome is. Has there been any response from the Finance Ministry? I please want to find out.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, as aforesaid, the African Development Bank has expressed keen interest to support us, and they have demonstrated it by releasing a certain amount to us. I can confirm that we have almost $20 million with us towards the financing of the arterial roads. But obviously, we need more money, to support it than that. That is why, from GOG, Government of Ghana Sources Consolidated Fund, we are trying to make up the difference. So we are working hard, and in consultation with Ministry of Finance, I believe the difference will be sorted out. And as soon as that is done, the project will be pushed forward and it will take off. Since JICA is waiting for us to release the funds. I thank you very much.
Yeah.
Very reassuring, Mr. Speaker, from the Honourable Minister. And I'm glad that my good sister, Honourable Abena Oseasar, is in the House. So I hope that she would help at the Finance Ministry so that matters can be facilitated for a good brother's sake. But, Mr. Speaker, my final question, I wanted to find out from the Honourable Rose Minister whether it is possible to re-engage JICA so that at least they can start with the bridge whilst government finalizes the funding for the roads. Have you considered that option, to re-engage JICA so that at least they can start the bridge whilst we finalize the funding for the roads? I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That is the wish of, I believe, every Ghanaian, and we keep on doing that. But this issue came up during my visit to Japan last year, November. They do not have any problem at all in releasing the money. But like I said, they do not want the bridge, to become a white elephant after it has been constructed. So we keep on talking to them, negotiating with them, but they are concerned that at least we show commitment, and convince them that something has started. And we have taken it up because that is our side of the obligation, and it must be discharged. So I can assure you and this Honorable House that very soon we shall take this matter up, at least show some initiation to convince them to release the funds. So that kind of negotiation is going on. I thank you very much, Mr.
Honourable Member for the Group.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I thank the Minister for elaborating on the start of the Volivo Bridge. I'm glad he also said that the ADB is interested in providing extra funding for the arterial roads. I'm delighted to hear that government is committed to provide the rest of the funding. But can the Minister agree with me that it would have been a better priority to provide GOG funding to start the arterial roads rather than building a tunnel between Flower Pot and East Legon? Would you agree with me that it would have been a better priority to send that money to Volivo since the grant is ready to be used rather than digging a tunnel between Flower Pot and East Legon?
Honourable Minister.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, yes, it's true that in life, because resources are limited, it's always proper to do prioritization. But in this respect, I can tell you that the construction of the tunnel is as important as the building of the Volivo Bridge. They are equally important. So whether one is started before the other is immaterial. They are both important. Thank you.
Honourable Member for the Group, where do you live in Accra?
At the moment, I'm in Parliament, but I live.
I know you're in Parliament. How long does it take you to go another tunnel?
I don't use it at all.
That's why I don't understand the importance of that. Very well. The next question is in the name of Honourable Member for Bongo, Edward Abambere Bawa. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Member for Bongo is unavoidably absent, and I seek your leave to read his statement for and on his behalf.
Very well, you may go ahead.
Most grateful, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways when the Bongo Namor Road will be constructed. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Bongo Namor Road, which is 30 kilometers, is being undertaken by the Ghana Highway Authority, GHA. Again, the Bongo Balungo Namo Border Feeder Road, which is 14 kilometers, is being undertaken by the Department of Feeder Roads, DFR. The roads are located in the Bongo district of the Upper East region, and both are gravel surfaced and are in poor condition. I will begin with the Bongo Namo Road. Mr. Speaker, the current program is that the first 2 kilometers of the trunk road from Bongo has been packaged together with the 5-kilometer Yorogo Junction Via Dam Road for upgrading to bituminous surfacing. The package is being reviewed by the employer and will be executed when funds are available. 2 contracts have also been awarded for the regraveling of the Bongo-Namo Trunk Road from kilometer 2 to kilometer 7. That is 5 kilometers, and kilometer 7 to kilometer 12. A. Regraveling of Bongo-Namo Road from kilometer 2 to kilometer 7. This project commenced on 10th August 2016 and was scheduled for completion on 9th August 2017. The completion date has since elapsed. The progress of work is projected at 20% physical completion. Ghana Highway Authority has initiated the process to terminate the contract in view of the low progress achieved compared with the 142% completion time already utilized. B. Regraveling of Bongo-Namo Trunk Road from kilometer 7 to kilometer 12. This project commenced on 19th August 2016 and was scheduled for completion on 18th August 2017. The completion date has since elapsed. The progress of work is projected at 5% physical completion. Ghana Highway Authority has initiated the process to terminate the contract in view of this low performance achieved compared with the 142% of completion time being utilized. The remaining 18 kilometers section, that is from kilometer 12 to kilometer 30, is currently scheduled for 2018 routine maintenance. That is grading to keep the gravel surface motorable. C. Dealing with Bongo-Balungu-Namo Feeder Road, a distance of 14 kilometers. Sections of the 10-kilometer stretch between Bongo and Sambogo were severely affected by flooding during the 2015-2016 rainfall season, resulting in the collapse of a 6-cell 3-by-3-meter box culvert located at kilometer 3.6. Engineering studies were carried out to determine an appropriate intervention to enable the road to become motorable, including sections up to the Namo border. An advert for the invitation to tender for the rehabilitation of the Bongo-Balungu Road was published in the Ghanaian Times of Monday, 30th November 2017. Tenders were received on Tuesday, 12 December 2017. Evaluation process is currently ongoing to select suitable contractors for the works. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Most grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I read from paragraph B of the Honorable Minister's statement. Answer. That the completion date has since elapsed. The progress of work is projected at 5.0% physical completion. GHA has initiated a process to terminate the contract in view of the low performance achieved compared to the 142% of completion time utilized. May I know from the Minister whether there's been an assessment of the possible implications of termination, i.e. cost and possible judgment debts, and then also delays in projects that has effect on the citizens. Thank you.
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, with the highest respect, the question was not clear to me. So if it can be repeated.
Yes, asking whether you've taken into consideration the cost implications for re-awarding the contract.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that is always taken into consideration, and it's true that any time the ministry is compelled to go through the process of terminating a contract, it becomes a little more expensive than the original contract sum. That is why the ministry is careful in awarding contracts, and the last thing that the ministry would want to do, or any of its agencies would want to do, is to terminate a contract, because you go through a very long, rigid procedure to start with before terminating a contract, because all contracts are regulated by law. So you need to go strictly by the terms and conditions of the contract. There must be a good reason, and you must have good grounds in abrogating any contract, legally. And apart from that, you need to give at least not less than 2 warning letters, at reasonable intervals to the contractor before you can even take that decision. And if that decision is taken in accordance with law, you need to repackage the job. You may even have to rescope the works to be done. Do further estimation of the project. So we have taken all that into consideration. But as difficult and as painful as it might be, is a lesser evil, and there is no option. Because if a contractor is not performing, the people must have the use of the road, because they are the eventual beneficiaries. So we are compelled to abrogate a contract or to terminate it and re-award, so that the people and the country as a whole gets the benefits. So it's true, it will be slightly higher, but we have no alternative. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I'm most grateful for the reassurance. The final question has to do with possible timelines that the re-awarding and then start of work will be, so that the inconvenience caused to pedestrians will be minimized. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable Minister, are you capable of giving us timelines?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I can only assure my colleague, the honorable member in this honorable house, that I wish this work had completed even yesterday. So we are working with speed, and we shall expedite action on it. Whilst I do not want to give any specific timeline, I can assure you in this house that we are working with speed to address this issue. I thank you.
Very well. Honourable members, the next question is in the name of the honourable member for Garu, Albert Akuka Alao Zuga.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways when the road from Garu to Boku will be constructed.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to give the background to this road project. The Boku-Misiga-Galu Road is a 30-kilometer long road. The Boku-Misiga section is 5 kilometers and paved, while the Misiga-Galu section
is 25 kilometers and has both bituminous and gravel surfaces. The road traverses from Boku in the Boku municipality to Galu in the Galu-Timpani district of the Upper East region. Mr. Speaker, currently there are 3 contracts awarded on the Misiga-Galu section of the Boku-Galu trunk road. Contract A deals with partial reconstruction of Misiga-Galu road, which is 5 kilometers, and upgrading of Misiga-Kulungugu road, which is also 10 kilometers. The works commenced on 16 January 2013 for contractual completion on 15 April 2016. The completion date has since elapsed. The contractor has requested for an extension of the completion time due to the employer's delay in paying for work done. The progress of works is projected at 46% physical completion. When completed, the road will have a bituminous surface. Contract number 2, or B, deals with regraveling of Misiga-Galu road, which is 5 kilometers, that is from kilometer 5 to kilometer 10. The project commenced on 19 September 2016 for contractual completion on 18 September 2017. The completion date has since elapsed. The progress of work is projected at 5% physical completion. The contractor has abandoned the site. Contract C, which is 3, also deals with graveling of Misiga-Galu road, another 5 kilometers from kilometer 10 to kilometer 15. The project commenced on 19 September 2016 for contractual completion on 18 September 2017. The completion date has since once again elapsed. The contractor was issued with a warning letter to expedite action to complete the works. However, he has still not mobilized to site to commence work. The remaining 10 kilometers section, that is from kilometer 15 to kilometer 25, is currently scheduled for 2018 routine maintenance. That is grading to keep the gravel surface motorable. Moving into the future, Mr. Speaker, the Ghana Highway Authority is initiating steps to terminate the 2 regraveling contracts for re-award. Engineering design studies will be undertaken in the second quarter of 2018 from kilometer 5 to kilometer 25 for bituminous surfacing, that is tarring. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, honourable member.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to know from the Minister, in the last line of the first paragraph, he indicated that the progress of work is projected at 46% physical completion. And he also added that when completed, the road will have a bituminous surface. I want to find out from the Minister whether the bituminous surface is going to be on the entire stretch of the road. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the entire road is scheduled to be bituminous surfaced, but from my answer, you can see that we have broken the entire road down into 3 lots being handled by 3 different contractors. So the work is scheduled to be carried out in phases.
and I'm dealing with the first 5 kilometers. And that is what I was giving you a specific account on, that is being developed from gravel stage and it's being upgraded to bituminous stage. And by the time we finish the entire stretch of the road, the entire surface would have received bitumen. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on page 9, paragraph 5, the Minister indicated that the remaining 10% kilometer section is currently scheduled for 2018 routine maintenance, and that is grading to keep the gravel surface motorable. I would like to know from the Minister when construction on that portion will commence. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my last sentence reads the remaining 10 kilometers, not the remaining 10%. The remaining 10 kilometers. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, as I have already said, the entire stretch of the road is being worked on and is being taken as one project from beginning to the end. But because we are working in stages, we have realized that the last 10 kilometers is not in good shape at all. That is why, as a measure, we want to make sure that until we get there, we put in our routine maintenance program, because it's at the gravel stage, to put it in good shape, to give riding comfort to motorists, and to make that section passable at all times. By the time we finish working on the entire stretch as programmed, and by the time we put bitumen on it, at least the people living within that vicinity will not be cut off. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yes, my last question.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you go through, if you pass through the route now as I speak to you, there are some 2 culverts that are under construction. And the contractor has diverted the route. And in fact, the way the diversion is done is creating a lot of accidents around that area. I want to find out from the Minister whether they will consider to do some interim, work to ensure some safety for road users for that portion. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister, I think this is just to urge you to consider road safety in the diversion.
Yeah. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, one cardinal point in road construction is to ensure maximum safety to motorists and indeed the traveling public. So I have taken keen note of that concern. It has not come to my attention, and I will find out, I will liaise with my technical people, particularly our regional director in Upper East, and ask for this concern, for an explanation. And if that is confirmed, I can assure my honorable friend and this honorable house that we shall take immediate action, to avoid further occurrences on this road.
the fatalities. I thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable Available Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. As you can note from the question, it is Garu Boku. So I'm starting from the Boku angle going to Garu. Honorable Minister, when the contract for the Volga Boku Pulmokum was being awarded, I had lobbied for the Boku Garu stretch to be added to that project. And I was told by staff of the ministry that the Boku Garu stretch is actually part of the Eastern Corridor route. And so that belongs to a completely different project. But your presentation today doesn't seem to confirm that it is part of the Eastern Corridor project. Can you provide some clarification to that?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what my honorable colleague said is true. I can confirm that. Perhaps it was not added to Bolga Boku Polkro Road because they fall within two separate road entities. From Boku, from Bolga to Boku to Polkro, near the border. No, it's a long stretch. That stretch is about 109 kilometers. And it was awarded separately to one contractor with his huge contract sum. And I believe since it's your constituency, you know it. The contract sum is about 622.9 million Ghana cedis. So it was treated as a separate road project, a separate entity. And it was a major rehabilitation on that stretch of road. Yes, the Boku Galu Road, at the end of the day, will form part of the Eastern Corridor, which starts from Tema through Volta region to join the north. But we had to deal with that section because of the nature of that road is so deteriorated. Greater portion of that road is at the gravel stage, and anytime there is a rainfall, the road is so bad that something had to be done. So as much as we are working on the entire Eastern Corridor road, we have to give an attention to it. So what you said is true, and we are treating the two roads separately, and they are both aligned in their own spheres. So that is what is happening. I thank you.
Very well. Question number 268. Honourable Member for Garu again.
Most grateful, Mr. Honourable Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways when the Garu Township roads will be constructed.
Honourable Minister, you don't have an answer in our other paper. Why?
There is an answer. Page 10. Mr. Speaker, page 10.
Very well.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the background to the question and that road is that Galu is the capital of the Galu Timpani district of the Upper East region. Currently, Mr. Speaker, there is no major program to rehabilitate the Galu Township roads. However, routine maintenance activities such as pothole patching on the paved sections and grading of the gravel sections have been awarded for execution in 2018. The future program for that road is that engineering studies will be conducted in the third quarter of 2018 for consideration in the 2019 budget. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Rob Member.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the second paragraph, the minister indicated that there are routine maintenance activities such as pothole patching on the pavement sections and grading of the gravel sections have been awarded for execution in 2018. I would like to know from the minister when in 2018, because 2018 has started, we are in first quarter now, and I don't know whether it's going to start first quarter, second quarter, or last quarter. Can the minister be specific? Thank you.
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, routine and periodic maintenance are always ongoing. We do routine maintenance, we do periodic maintenance on our roads at all times. So that is an ongoing process because roads must always be maintained to keep them in good shape and to make them roadworthy as much as possible. And that is the essence of the road fund, which is in existence. We use the resources from the road fund to maintain the roads. So there is no specific time to carry it out. Once it's scheduled for 2018, because of perhaps the seriousness of some of the potholes, within the town, we are giving it a special attention in 2018 under our general, broad, ongoing maintenance program. So I want to assure you and assure this Honorable House that we are going to keep an eye on Galu town roads, and you will see action on it from now onwards. I thank you.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. This is more an appeal. There's a certain portion stretching from the township towards where the district assembly is. There's a portion that's very dangerous, and a lot of accidents occur there, especially on market days. I want to appeal to the minister to actually use his offices to ensure that this portion is fixed. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Noted, Honourable Minister. The last question is in the name of Honourable Member for Daboya Makarigu, Shaibu Mahama.
Most grateful, Mr. Speaker. My substantive question now.
This one is your own.
Yes, please. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways the progress of construction works on the Daboya to Busunu and Daboya to Mankarigu roads. Thank you.
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Daboya, Busunu, and Daboya Mankaligu roads are 35 kilometers and 30 kilometers long, respectively, with gravel surfaces. The roads are located in the North Gonja district of the Northern region. The current program is that 2 contracts have been awarded for the upgrading of Busunu-Daboya Road, which is 53 kilometers, and rehabilitation of Daboya-Mankaligu Uyasi Road, which is 30 kilometers. The 2 projects, when completed, will upgrade the roads to a bituminous surface. Starting with the upgrading of Busunu-Daboya Road, as I have already said, covering a distance of 53 kilometers. This project commenced on 1st January 2015 for completion on 1st June 2017, which has since elapsed. It is currently at 65% physical completion. Activity at site has been suspended because of delay in payment for the works done. And B, rehabilitation of Daboya Mankaligu Uyasi Road, covering a distance of 30 kilometers. This project commenced on 7 November 2016 for completion on 8 November 2018. It is currently at 18% physical completion. Activity at site has been suspended because of delay in payment for the work done. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, note from the Minister's response that activity at the site has been suspended because of delay in payment for the works done. May I know respectfully from the Minister whether the delay in the payment is as a result of a technical problem or financial? And if so, when possibly can we get contractors back to the 2 roads? I thank you.
Honourable Minister.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my answer has given a clear, unambiguous reason for the delay. Is payment. And
why
payment has not been effected.
Honourable Minister, the reason, the answer he wants is why has the payment delayed?
Yes.
Is it because you don't have money, or is it because there's something wrong with the certificate?
Yes.
Which one?
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. There was nothing wrong with the certificate. The certificates were presented. The contractors initiated the payment by raising their invoices. The engineers duly prepared the certificates. The certificates were duly presented to the appropriate agency and were processed. But from 2015 to December 2016, payments were not effected as expected. That's why the contractors abandoned the site. Steps are being taken to pay the contractors and to regularize the contracts so that they can go back. So essentially, the delay was financial and had nothing to do with technical consideration.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Honourable Minister, at the intersection of these 2 roads is the White Volta River at Daboya. I know this is very dear to your heart. because it serves, if the bridge is constructed, it serves as an alternative to Yape and then Bupe. And I know you have made provision for it in the 2018 budget. When will work commence on the bridge over the White Water in Daboya?
I remember, that's a separate question. It's not arising out of the minister's question. If you want to have another follow-up question, I'll admit it, but this one is disallowed.
Very well, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there's an intersection of the two roads that I mentioned. And so I think the Honorable Minister knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm confident that the Honorable Minister will provide just some little clarification as to that one. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Honorable Member, the road has been designed and approved for construction. The only reason it is delayed is that they have not been able to pay the contractor. So I'm sure the intersection has already taken care of that in design. So I take it that you don't have any follow-up question. Member for overseas.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to the best of my knowledge, the contractor on Wesi Daboya Mankargu has constructed culverts from kilometer 1 to 18. And from kilometer 18 to 22 is a lowland area, it's a valley. And the culverts, the approaches are not filled. And now that the rainy season is approaching, when it rains somewhere around August, Mankargu, Kubugu, and Feda will be cut off from the rest of, the villages between Kubori to Wesi. Can the minister assure us that, between now and August, he will do all he can to get the contractor back to site so that the contractor will be able to fill the approaches to allow for easy passage? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. That assurance is hereby given. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. That is the last of the questions. Honorable Minister, we thank you for attending upon the House to answer the questions. You are discharged. Yes, Honorable available leader on the minority side. What is it? I'm not yet on the next level.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, my leader, before he exited the chamber, gave indications that he had given notice pursuant to Order 72 to raise a matter of urgent public concern. And so, with your permission, if I may do so on his behalf. So, Speaker, it relates to an announcement that went out yesterday that the regional minister for the Upper West region has been suspended from office pending some investigation regarding some matters involving the NADMO office in the region. So, Speaker, the concern of my leader, as he authorized me to raise, has to do with the very legality of the act of suspending a minister of state. So, Speaker, if you look at our Constitution, Article 81, which deals with the ways that a minister can be dealt with, clearly you can see that minister may exit office by resignation, by the termination of the appointment by the president, in the unfortunate event of death. And the other way in which a minister can be dealt with is by a vote of censure by this House. So, Speaker, those are the known mechanisms that we can use to deal with a minister. Mr. Speaker, the exercise of the function of suspending a minister and then now investigating to find out what the facts really are is a strange phenomenon. It's not known to our Constitution, very alien to our Constitution. Mr. Speaker, if you go to Article 296, 295 thereabout, which deals with the powers that a president has over people that the president appoints. That's 297, Mr. Speaker. It says that the power to appoint a person to hold or to act in an office in the public service shall include the power to confirm appointments, to exercise disciplinary control over persons holding or acting in any such office, and to remove the persons from office. The contention I hear people say is that this enables a president to suspend a minister because it amounts to exercising disciplinary control. But, Mr. Speaker, the Constitution interprets public service. And if you go to public service, it says that public service includes service in any civil office. Service in any civil office of government. Civil office of government. Mr. Speaker, a ministerial portfolio is not a civil office of government. We know the civil service, and it's those ones that constitute the civil office of government. And so you cannot use this provision of the Constitution to further the exercise of this power, especially when the Constitution itself is very express in the way that you can deal with a minister of state. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that whereas the president may reprimand a minister and show his disapproval of the conduct of the minister, if indeed he wants to discipline, the mechanisms open to him include dismissal, and if he's not dismissing, this parliament may propose a vote of censure against the minister, but suspension is unknown to the Constitution. I'm waiting to hear arguments pointing to the basis of the exercise of that power, and that is a concern that my leader raises. The second concern that he raises is the practice of asking the deputy minister to act in the stead of the minister that has been suspended. And this is a matter that he also wants to place on record. So, Speaker, I think that we all do not approve of the conduct of those who took the action against the NADMO office, and we do agree that the president needs to, assert his authority and ensure that the right thing is done and that there's discipline across board. But in doing so, the president has to be mindful that he has to act consistent with the Constitution and the rule of law. Even in ordinary civil service, Mr. Speaker, even in the civil service, the public service, you do not suspend and then now carry out an investigation. Ordinarily, you start from a query, and if the person answers the query unsatisfactorily, then you move to the next stage. Suspension itself is a punishment. And you don't punish a person and afterwards you now try to find out whether or not the person committed the offense for which you are punishing the person. So there are a number of anomalies in the exercise of the power of the president, and we just thought that we should draw attention to these anomalies. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah. Arnold, do you want to speak to that? If you want to, sorry. If you want to speak to it, I'll allow you. Very well. My view is that the power to appoint includes the power to suspend, dismiss, and so the president is within his power. If anybody thinks or is that is satisfied that the president is acting out of the Constitution, the person knows the appropriate rules to use. Otherwise, it's well within his power to suspend any appointee of his. Honourable members, at the commencement of public business, item number 6, Chairman of the ad hoc or special committee, are you ready with the presentation of the report? Very well, you may.
Report of the Special Committee set to investigate the levy and collection of the Ministry of Trade and Industry of the Ghana cedi equivalent of various sums of money in the United States of America dollars from expatriate businesses and related matters during the recently held Ghana Expatriate Business Awards in Ghana.
The report is duly presented. It is for distribution to members. Honourable members, items number 7 and 8. Leaders, are we ready? The chairman of the committee is still out of the jurisdiction.
That's so, Mr. Speaker. The chairman is not available, so
very
he
well.
can be taking
We'll
this.
skip them. So, Honourable Leader, what is your pleasure?
I rise to move that in the absence of any further business, especially so when we cannot take items number 7 and 8, I move that the House stands adjourned to Tuesday, the 6th of February at 10 o'clock in the forenoon.
Yes, minority.
Mr. Speaker, in the light of your ruling today, the elaborate reasoning of which we'll be waiting for, I will second the motion.
Honourable members, the motion has been moved and seconded. All in favour say aye. Aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. The House is adjourned until Tuesday, the 6th of February at 10 o'clock in the forenoon. And please, it's 10 o'clock in the forenoon.